Hey, welcome back, viewers. It's James Kalm, your half-assed reporter on the bike, and we're in Williamsburg. We're going to pop in here for a summer show at the Journal. Stay tuned. Well, I was out riding around visiting a few spaces on the Lower East Side, and it seems like there was a lot of local art heads were jonesing for some cultural activity today. They're calling this show Summer Sun, and I was interested because it looks like it's mostly a painting show, and we've got some well-known masters of reductivist abstraction. I think we'll start out taking a look at this piece. This is by Sarah Brahman, titled Shelburne Falls. Fabric dye, acrylic paint, and found photo. Well, I just walked around the show and took a glance at most of the work, and one of the things that I like about what the Journal does is that they are very much into kind of minimalism or even conceptual painting. So we got some wood here in the panels, and a lot of this has a very reductive, reduced, almost monochromatic paint surface. This is by Imi Knoebel, K-N-E-B-E-L. So I've seen Imi's work before. He's a very well-known German abstract painter, and I think I remember bumping into his work in Berlin probably 25 years ago. This is titled Canopy Monochrome Broom Olive. And again, here we've got a very minimal paint surface. Very just flat, brushed on brownish olive, but he's put it on this very kind of exuberant, this looks like a explosion pattern from a cartoon. And I like the kind of the irony of the kind of silent remove paint surface with the expressive form of the canvas. It's by Peter Demos. I think it go back a year or so. We covered a show of Peter's work that was here a year and a half ago. And I think that Peter would be a good example of I don't know how old he is, but I'm sure he's youngish. But I think there's an entire group of young painters that are kind of picking up and reviving a lot of ideas of minimalism and even conceptual painting. This is great. This is actually monochrome, and the only kind of designations of the composition would be these bands on the edges, slightly arced, shiny bands. This is a tall piece by Blair Thurman titled Silver Slipper. And canvas on wood. Well, this kind of gets to what Don Judd was talking about in his famous essay that he wrote in 1964, where he was kind of stating the basic principles of minimalism. And one of those ideas was that there was a whole group of artists that were working somewhere between painting and sculpture. And as a painter, one of the things I enjoy about a piece like this is that although there are sculptural forms like this long oval in the center, this is all created by designing your stretcher. And maybe Ron Gorchov would be someone that has been working in this modality for 35 years. Actually, I was thinking so far all of the paintings are basically monochrome. By a legendary Brooklyn artist. This is by Stephen Perino. It's titled Bento Verse Lime No. 1, 1995. Enamel and silicone on honeycomb aluminum panel. Steve Perino is a very interesting character. He was working in a very kind of austere, theoretical approach to painting, and he was kind of grinding away here in Williamsburg and also showing a little bit in Europe and in the East Village. And a lot of people didn't really understand what he was doing. And then he died in a motorcycle accident, I think, going home from a New Year's Eve party about 10 or 12 years ago, and suddenly the prices of his paintings went from about $10,000 up to maybe a couple $100,000. I like the way that Stephen kind of made these cuts very spontaneously. It's not like these are planned out, drawn out like a carpenter. This looks pretty crooked. Piece is 48.5 by 10.25 by 49, and yeah, so you can see that it's the honeycombed aluminum, and then he's cut seams in here and filled in the gaps with silicone. think we covered the show by this artist, Daniel Boccato. This is titled Rift Face. Epoxy fiberglass and polyurethane coating, 42 by 53 by 13 inches. Well, I was looking at some of the works in this show and I was wondering whether these were actual things that were fabricated from plastic tarps, or whether he had made the forms and then made a mold and cast them. And I kind of like this because it's kind of looks like a face, but it also makes references to letters like R and a Y. Well, I said that there were some very well-known artists in this show. So we've got a couple of pieces here. I imagine this is a diptych by Olivier Mosset. Oliver, I guess, is maybe one of the most well-known of the French conceptual painters. He was a founding member of a group called BMT. Daniel Byrne, Olivier Mosset, and two other guys whose names I can't remember. They were the PTs. This is polyurethane and acrylic on canvas, and they've got these dated 1993 to 2014. Well, the BMPT group were well known. I think it was 1968 or 69. They did a performance piece at a museum in Paris, and all four of them kind of decided that they would come up with some type of painting that was almost more like performance, and they would stay in the galleries and make paintings using their little motifs until the galleries closed. And many of these artists, at least a couple of these artists, are still doing the same little patterns. They had a particular size of brush. They kind of had so many strokes per square meter that they were putting in. And this started a whole different way of thinking about painting. It's almost more of a political and maybe performative act. And other groups like the Support Surface and even some of the radical painting groups in New York were very influenced by them. By Michael Staniak. It's titled OBJ 939. Tooling resin, polyurethane, and acrylic. Well, I'm a big fan of blue. This makes me think of Yves Klein and some of his Yves Klein blue pieces with his sponges. This is 2017, 48 by 36 inches. And somehow, because this is so massively thick, it seems like it's a lot bigger than that. If that surface is pretty delicate, you wouldn't want to bump into that. This piece is by Sam Moyer, and it's titled Solon 2015. stone and dyed canvas mounted on MDF 60 by 61. Well, I looked at this from across the room, and I just thought it was painted panels that were set into other canvases here, and then I walked over and looked at it and realized that these three sections in here are actually stone. I don't know whether that's slate, maybe. And Sam did a nice job of getting a dyed fabric that kind of looks like this. But as I said, this entire show is kind of dealing with the idea of monochrome and pigment on a surface, and how you might designate or lay out various areas. Jeez, I wonder how much this thing weighs. This final piece is by Graham Collins, and it's titled Maryland 2017. I was over at the desk picking up the press release and the gallery listing, and someone asked if the box was part of the piece. Yeah, I looked at the guy and said, yeah, the box is the piece. This is 87.5 by 75.5 by 17.5. So it's like we've got a little cardboard maquette that's based on a silhouette of Marilyn Monroe. I wonder if this is taken from a still photo of Men Like Blondes, one of her classic movies. And then when you put it into this almost Damien Hirst-like glass box, kind of transforms this very kind of ephemeral image into something much more substantial, more monumental. But it's monochrome, except for the brushed aluminum. James Kalm, coming to you from North 1st Street in Williamsburg, and the show is titled Summer Sun. Feel free to comment, critique, leave whatever opinions you might have below. Help me with this, people. Thank you, Kate.